This is Amaria Sweet with HeartMind Expressions, and today we have a very special guest with us, Althea, and I'm going to read really quick her bio. If you want to go ahead and pull up your share screen while we're doing it, and I'll just go ahead and switch over my screen on the bio since it's going to freeze my face anyway, and we'll get started with that. So there we go. Althea was raised in the Bay Area with a rich education in the arts, which was including studies in Florence, Italy, as well as an undergraduate degree in illustration from the California from the California College of the Arts in Oakland, and a master's in fine arts from San Francisco Art Academy. She's gone through a massive awakening, shifts over the cycles of her life that has brought her to live in a cozy little town in the middle of the mountains in southern Utah, far from big cities, of course. And she's been studying energetic synthesis material for about 7 years now. And this is the material that I've been speaking about a little bit off and on with Lisa Renee on some of my other shows. And with her studies, she's awakening, helping with the awakening of humanity via exopolitics, esoteric material, and intuition. She's currently teaching art at a high school in a small town, which both her teenage daughters attend, and this has been the most rewarding of all of her work. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and turn that back over to you and let you go with your presentation. I'm really excited about this.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate being here. So I just want to read a little forward that an ES member wrote about my art, because I just feel like it really encapsulates it. So it's by Agni, and she said, Althea, it seems to me that all your pictures are created by your avatar Christ directly, and even higher forms of your own expression. They create a bridge from the Aurora rainbow races and the Dragon Luminar race lines to communicate and work with us, serve as communication transmission channels, centers, receivers, hosts, posts, station hubs, and anchoring and fortification systems, celestial mind and communication stations. Your art creates a powerful no-time field, which is in its own facilitating healing. Your pictures are consciousness corridors. Your art pieces are meant to anchor the new reality field in the current timeline and into all creations and the crystallic code patterns into all life forms. So your pictures are living, breathing, sentient conscious forms communicating to us on many levels via inbuilt subliminal messages, our higher sensory perception, cellular sensory perception. And when we look at your paintings, our cellular matrix gets recoded and updated. So is our skeletal matrix and blood codes. Our CNS gets rewired, blending. So as you are releasing these pictures, you're activating these templates for yourself and humanity. The geometric patterns embedded in the 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D versions of your pictures are linked to your formations on the corresponding dimensions and energetic level, planet Earth, Tara, and Gaia. So they're God divine codes for divinity path beings only. So I was really moved by that. So I'm just sharing that here. So we'll start with
that's beautiful.
Put this aside. Okay, so I'm going to start with this painting. And this is called Building Wings, which is actually what we were just talking about, because building wings is when you meet somebody who is your twin flame, or it can even be somebody who activates you. And it doesn't have to necessarily be your twin flame.
Right.
It's somebody you're supposed to grow with, and there's going to be struggle. Definitely a lot of struggle. I think
Such is life, right?
But this is not a person who is in like a narcissistic relationship with you.
Right.
And sometimes, often, like we were saying, a lot of us had to go through a narcissistic relationship in order to meet somebody that activates us and propels. It's like a growth process.
Very true.
So Building Wings is about the 6th portal wing is on the top right corner shoulder, and the 7th portal wing is on the left shoulder. Okay, so the 60 portal is connected to the celestial body, which is the soul matrix. And when activated, begins the process of soul twinning. And so soul twinning is within yourself. It's not within you and your partner, but your partner activates this twinning within you. It's the heart twin. And so a lot of people in the New Age community are talking about twin flames, and they're desperate to find that twin flame because of this activation potential.
Right.
However, that can happen in a lot of ways, and it doesn't always have to happen with a 3D partner, but it is the most like immediate and actually devastating.
Aw.
Not devastating, but like if you have ego dismantling to go through, and this is going to lead me to my next painting. If you have ego dismantling to go through, a victimizer programming running in your body, you will be forced through the energetic frequency of building your wings to clear that out of your system.
Right.
And it can take years, however long it takes. And a lot of us actually have been doing this ahead of time, so it won't take as long as other people.
Yeah, I think I started about 17 to 20 years ago, about the time I started having kids, and it just hit until finally I started clearing. And Lisa's work, it's been those fire codes, the meditations that she's done. I'm incorporating some of her stuff in my own meditations, and wow, it's really been amazing on getting rid of that, and especially the Anubian black heart. But the victimizer was a big one that I was clearing out too. So I'm getting it, and I'm loving these paintings with it, because it's definitely giving me a visual for what her work has been, that I've been researching, because I've done about 200 hours just listening to her stuff now since about September. It's been fascinating.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go into ES. You just go and listen and
Yep.
process. Well, she also talked about how Jupiter represents the 6th-dimensional wings, and Saturn represents the 7th-dimensional wings. And right now, with the Saturn-Jupiter convergence on the solstice of the 21st,
Right.
this is going to be the wing healing for the collective. And it's just available. It's available for the collective now in a way that it wasn't quite before.
Awesome.
So that's good news.
Yes, that's amazing. I love it.
Okay, so this painting, so these 3 circles are the male female merge of the 3, and I'm God sovereign free, and that's the Holy Trinity. And
Beautiful.
so pretty much speaks for itself.
I love that. It's so beautiful.
So this is the VV program painting, and I did this painting just as an altar piece to hang over my altar and bedroom, just because there was so much VV going on and in relationship, and where I noticed that when one person would play out the victim, the other would go to victimizer, and then it would just trade back and forth. So let's talk about the victimizer program. So the goal of the invading entities, which was brought on by the Lyran Wars, was to destroy the access between the universal gates. So the Lyran gates and the Andromeda was to prevent any of the founder races from gaining access. So they couldn't come in here. They couldn't get in here, the founder races, the Christos, right? Well, they can now, but they couldn't before. Before 2009, we had no access to them. We were like abandoned.
Wow.
Well, we felt abandoned.
Right. Which is interesting, because I had one of my NDEs right about 2009 when my youngest was a baby. I had a reaction to morphine, and I went across the other side and met Joshua. And wow. That's interesting how a lot of this stuff lines up energetically.
Yeah. So they really were trying to prevent the Christos founder races to be able to access us and rescue us in many ways, because our DNA has been so hybridized. And so this victimizer fear-based mindset programming is the way. It's a service to self program. It's enemy patterning, and it's the opposite of the law of one. And so whenever we have negative ego, and I have a whole bunch of information on this that isn't part of this series, but the only way it is activated is through negative ego. So we have to, it's polarity consciousness. It's this and we are polarity integrators. So our goal is to integrate these two polarities. And when you're building your wings and you have, it doesn't matter if it's a partner, if it's kids, if it's whatever is in your life, the people around you are going to reflect your polarity. So they're going to bring out these polarities of the victim victimizer that are embedded in us through lifetimes, as well as childhood, but lifetimes, right?
Right.
So it's actually a program, and all you have to do, it's really actually quite simple. Just go Command Alt Delete, and in your mind you visualize a computer and you click Command Alt Delete, and you delete the program. You literally just delete it. And as you do it, you switch it to Crystal Star as your avatar.
Oh.
You are no longer going to be using you know, these false gods. You know, once you recognize these things, they're actually quite easy to get rid of. Well, they'll come back. You'll be challenged.
Right.
As they come back, it'll become less and less dense. So you might go into victimizer or victimhood, but you'll recognize it and you'll feel it. As soon as you start to, you know, the language, you can recognize it.
Right. I do notice that actually, how the triggers, when I do get PTSD triggered, that it's shorter lived and a little bit less intense when I'm peeling off those layers. So that makes absolute sense. This is really cool.
Yeah. And it does take many, many layers.
But yes. I feel like the Shrek onion.
It is an onion. I think less now for people. Yeah. So this is a self-portrait that I did. It's called Return to Rightful Owner. Cool. And there is a universal law that all of your body parts, all of your fire letters, all of your spiritual soul fragments are allowed to come back to you. It is a spiritual law. And if you command it, and there is a command that we can read, and as you command it, you bring back I have a painting of jewels because, you know, these are all my jewels. They're mine. And it's not like you read, but it's like, what is rightfully mine? So as the 12D avatar like that I am, I cancel all contracts and agreements I have made with any entity guide in this timeline or any reality. And further, I ask my avatar to return all unity codes, fire letters, jewels, wings, and parts of body and energies that have been misdirected and usurped, and I ask to return them now to the rightful owner in this name of self-sovereignty here instated and commanded into presence. Okay. So this is an abbreviated thing, and we can maybe share it, these commands. So if you start to command things, first you have to intellectually understand what you need to command. Once you start that process, you learn the language, and it's a new language because our language has been taken from us. So we forgot how to speak.
Makes sense. Makes so much sense.
So we need to speak as if we are God's sovereign free and the owners of our vessels, because these are God's vessels. This is God technology, right? So that's what that painting's about.
That's beautiful. Okay. I love the swans. That's so cool. Oh, wow.
Okay, so this one's a little more information.
Yes. Oh my God, I love the griffins. How fun.
So this is the Wisdom Keepers. And this comes from a piece in the ES material. So you hold the book of knowledge of the mechanics of the universe. And that lineage is called the Magi lineage. The level of consciousness was like a record keeper of the universe. And many of those beings embodying this knowledge and literally protected it within their bodies.
Wow.
Like their body was the container of the knowledge. It was done that way for safety purposes. Because literally, genetically, you have to crack the code in order to access it, because it's not, you can't replicate this knowledge because it's direct from source. It's literally coming from the organic living creation. Okay, so as you can see, the Egyptian timeline is in the background.
Mm-hmm.
when the Egyptian invasion happened, right?
Right.
And the Nephilim came and all this stuff happened with our DNA, and
Right.
the fall, it was basically the fall. We had already fallen, right? Because Tara, and which is the 5 deep earth, and Lyra had exploded into our Milky Way. And so we'd had already fallen, but at this point in time, we were rebuilding, okay, ourselves in Atlantis and all this, right? But we were invaded before that. We were invaded, and our DNA was, we had a big, huge wars, so many wars, galactic wars. So in order to save our information, which was sacred, we put it into our body. And we put it into the
Makes
discs.
so much
There's
sense.
discs everywhere, all over the planet. There's crystal discs, right?
God, that makes so much sense. It's like all of a sudden these memory flashes are going. I'm having a download right now, so keep talking, girl. I'm just like, woo! Wow.
So these, yeah, and so this painting's to activate that. So this is the, so we put the memory into the DNA because we knew it would be stolen, and we were killed many, many times over. And so we had to put it into our bodies and carry it. And we have it in our DNA and in our, literally in our bones.
Right. Oh God, yeah.
So, and so we need to access it and crack the code. And of course, that's what we've been doing all of our lives, constantly. So when it was we were invaded, we have been, our memory's been wiped over and over and over again. And then they have made fun of us constantly, through this stories of Atlantis and Egypt and all of this stuff. And we can go over that more in another video, but this is just, this is the activation, and the 12D tree grid is on the pillars, and the pillars hold the sacred knowledge and the threefold flame and the griffin, which is a magical beast. And
I'll have to
actually,
show you some of the art that I have. There's one that's got griffins. This just reminds me so much. Wow. I'm so like just engrossed in this piece right here. It's just absolutely stunning. I love it.
so yeah, the griffins, all the magical beasts were very real. In fact, we have lots of proof of it. There are, it's just crazy. I have these amazing pictures of dragons that are petrified.
Oh wow,
A
really?
lot of the times when you see rocks and they look like big creatures, well, they're petrified.
Wow.
Of course, that's not told to us. Our history is completely stolen.
Right. Wow.
Completely stolen. So we have to research it ourselves, and we will remember. And so yeah, this is a wisdom keeper, and the whole piece is wisdom keeper. So this is
Oh my God, that's so precious.
this is the Crystal Warriors. Cyrus B. Maharai. This is a lineage of indigo race children.
Wow.
These are real children. All of my paintings have people that I take photos, and I'll show you at the end of the slide. I pieced it together. So, okay, so we all know about the Indigo Children, right? We're all of them. We are all Indigo Children. Well, we were the first wave. Actually, my grandmother was the first wave.
Wow.
Our grandparents, a couple of them came in, but they were really, there wasn't available for them.
Yeah.
The architecture wasn't ready to, it was too dense, right? Too dense here. And now the children keep coming in more and more advanced because it's getting lighter.
Right.
So these are the crystal children, and a group of Orifeme, or those crystals races with double diamond sun templates, were hybridized with the Azurite races of Sirius B in order to create a special Magi lineage. And they would act as guardian gatekeepers for the portal of the entry of the indigo lines. And they
Wow.
were overseers of the incarnated in waves upon the earth during the ascension cycle. So some of these branches from Sirius B also went on Tara and were members of the Azurite Templar teams, protecting the stargates and performing missions as guardian grid keepers. So this is Lisa's material. This is ES material right off of her ascension glossary. So as I've been studying the ES material, I'll get just pictures constantly, like, especially in a meditation, I'll just get pictures.
Right.
And I was going to tell you that painting these paintings have been very difficult. They're not like painting some of my other work, which I'm going to show you before ES,
Mm-hmm.
because it was such a dismantling of ego.
Wow.
And there's so many, so much higher information trying to get into this tiny little space. And I was constantly confronted with mission failure, you know,
Mm. Right.
constantly. And just, I am constantly, as an artist, feeling, you know, I have to overcome that all the time.
Yeah, it is really hard, especially when you get that artist block. I'm with you because I'm actually creating a tarot deck right now.
Oh, wow.
And I haven't been able to work on my art for a few months because of breaking through some more of that victimizer trauma, as well as the false parent archetype and the what is it, the false king of tyranny. Some huge ones that I've had to really break through.
Yep. And isn't it interesting how you'll be at a certain level of your development and you cannot move until you
Mm-hmm.
process something?
Right. It's so intense, but you know, I love the work that, you know, I can just see how it's really been amazing with your art, and it's doing that inside of me right now. And so I'm knowing that somehow soon, not just psychically or energetically or with whatever sessions I'm doing, I know that it's going to start coming out more in my art, because I can just, it's like almost seeing what you've done. I'm kind of like that child right behind you learning. So this is really cool.
Yeah, it's a big process to go from being sort of a trained artist to jumping into something that is much more, has much more meaning, and
Yes.
can't always come out as a pretty painting necessarily. And that's not its point, right?
Right. God, I just, this painting is speaking to my soul so much right now. I'm just like, my kundalini's lit and my throat and wing chakras are like boom with my heart. So
Yeah, so this
wow.
is the guardian race. This is Lisa, of course, and these are the
Right.
guardian races. Well, when I first saw them, you know, a male and female sort of just huge gestalt, huge energy,
Right.
and they're like, but they're not really the guardian races. They're just like the entrance. This is an entrance to them, right?
Right.
This is like the gatekeepers. This is,
It's beautiful.
there's so many layers, you know, upon layers, that we have to go through many gates to get there, because there's many gatekeepers, because this information is so sacred,
Right.
and it's been so
Wow.
tacked. Just like getting on here, I could feel the attack. It's just like nothing
Yeah.
wants you to have this information.
Yeah.
Well, the guardians do, but nothing mostly that runs this earth, the NAA,
Mm-hmm.
negative alien agenda, want you to
Oh
have
yeah.
this information.
And we got hit pretty hard. What did it take me? God, almost an hour just to get set up again. And I was trying to get here and the roads are so icy, slipping everywhere. I'm like, what's going on? I was on time. And so, yeah, I think we both got hit on both sides, didn't we?
I was just clearing black magic, clearing black magic. It's constant, you know.
Right.
It's
Oh my
constant.
goodness.
So this is yes, community field means the Aurora Guardians, who are currently working to override and re-encrypt the current inorganic grid structure on the planet during this ascension cycle. And these are all the people involved. Anybody watching this is probably involved, you know. And there's an Aurora platform. There's an
Mhm.
Aurora platform in, I'd love to go over this slide at some point that I created for another class. It's up there at 14D. So if you have your
Wow.
12D shield on, it's 12D, and then the Aurora platform's at 14D.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
that's where you can go and connect to the Aurora field. It's a field, and it goes on forever. Some people would
Wow.
call it like maybe a Buddhic realm or a heavenly realm, but you can access it like that. Okay,
That's
so
really cool.
here's the Holy Emerald Order.
Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
The Holy Emerald Order are the founders of the Interdimensional Free World Council as the result of the Paladorian covenants to ensure that all souls lost in the fallen or phantom matrix are returned back to God's source. Actually, this is guaranteed now.
Wow.
All souls are guaranteed, no matter what,
Wow.
it's done.
Well, and my soul part of it is I was from Sirius C, and being part dragon, like the Paladorian dragons speak to me so much. So I'm wondering if that's what the dragon lineage that I come from, because being a grid worker and doing this all my life just subconsciously, this one is like the most, like I feel like it's weird. I feel almost like I'm drawn into the painting. My body is literally vibrating right now. My kundalini is lit. My third eye is white. I'm just like, what? You literally, it's like you've got this magic in your paintings. It is just phenomenal.
Thank you.
Wow.
It's a lot
Welcome.
of this is a corridor. This is the Emerald Order corridor. So like I was
Oh,
saying
okay.
about the other painting, it's like layers upon layers. You have to enter them. So the Holy Father Emerald Order frequency of the green, realm, the Emerald realm. This is their guardians, you know. We know them, and they're here to assist, and this is very much like the father frequency, the masculine rod.
It's just funny because I've always been very masculine.
Yeah,
I'm
actually a
learning
lot of
how
us
to
women,
balance.
right?
Right. I'm learning how to balance and embrace my feminine side, because I've never been very feminine. I've always been very tomboyish, and so
Well, a
it's
lot of us
it's
on this journey of women have had
mm-hmm.
to hold both the male and the female, because the men
Interesting.
haven't been able to awaken until just recently. I mean, some have,
Oh,
of course, some have,
mm-hmm.
but
Right, right.
it's more available to us. And so we've had to, of course, then there's the mind control
Yes.
to get
Yeah,
rid
oh
of our
God, yeah.
feminine.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So we've had to really have a masculine energy in order to survive and make it this far.
Yeah, doing the hustle to get stuff done, girl.
Gotta do it. Oh my gosh.
Ah,
Okay, so this is
ooh,
Solar
beautiful.
King painting. It's also the Solomon Shield. If
Wow.
anybody knows the story in the Bible, this is Solomon Shield. Is also it's this 369 rod repair. So this painting is the Solar King, and um, this is the male energy that we're to embody as the masculine principles within us. And we have the shield with the Karayasa Ta'ala, which is Kristalla.
Oh,
And
yes.
then we have the Solomon sword, which is the 369 rod repair. So 369 is the very sacred, uh, numbers. And
Energy of love.
yeah, so this is really just when you're feeling like you need to put that energy on
Mm-hmm.
and just like go out in the world.
Do you know what's coming
Fight your
to me
battle.
about this? And I don't know if if you're doing this already, have you thought of making these into like cards? You know how some people have like an angel deck or whatever type deck? Have you ever thought of doing like the Hyros, Gamos, Christos, Sophia angel deck and just putting these into a card deck? Have you ever thought about doing that?
I have thought about it. It's just that there's so many unpainted paintings. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I
I
have,
guess
and
you could
all,
always do like a deck and then add to the deck. Like, here's
yeah,
your additional cards to your deck.
like I need to create a lot more, and I should be creating more because it's been, there's so many mental blocks with this work for me.
Right.
And so many paintings are in my garage, like at
Mhm.
least 5 that have not been finished or that I messed up on or I just couldn't complete. And I'll show
Mhm.
you one of those here in a minute, but just it's a big process of
Right.
actually, it's not even the final painting, But yeah, if I get to a point where I can make a completed cycle, I think it would be great to do that. I've always wanted to.
Yes. Oh, it would be, I would totally buy that deck. This is just beautiful. I love it.
So this is one of the ones that was that's in my garage because I kind of never finished it. So I never took a proper picture. But you can
Mm-hmm.
see my work is really big too. So I work really
Yeah.
big.
Right?
This is not even as big as some of the other ones, but this is Reverse the Curse and the Code of the
Oh, yeah.
Dial. And this is Lisa and Tomas and the
Oh,
ES and the Dragon, Aurora Dragons.
love it.
I just,
You know, this is interesting. The dragon that you have there, the Aurora dragon, I'm not going to say her name live, but there's a friend that I met this past week that I did a session on, and I could see her higher self, and it's a dragon with the aurora, just like this. Like it's like she's glowing, kind of like a bubble, and you can see all the little auroras, the rainbow colors, and she's got pink wings. But this totally reminds me of how her dragon glows, like how her higher self, because she's a dragon like this. And wow, that's so amazing.
yeah, and Lisa's a dragon. So
That's really
Lisa,
cool. I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
so nice.
she
That's
did
really cool.
a whole podcast about that once where she talked about where she's from. She's from the
Wow.
dragon planets of dragons. And she came in
Yeah.
here she said the way she got in is through the diagonal grid
Mm-hmm. Oh,
because the
wow.
diagonal grid isn't infiltrated yet or wasn't infiltrated. It was
Okay.
the horizontal and the vertical. So
Mm,
the vertical and the horizontal. So she was able to get into this planetary realm through the horizontal, and she's a dragon race.
that's so cool.
Yeah, which makes
Maybe
sense.
that's why I feel connected to her as a fire dragon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the dragons are really important. So here's the reclamation of the solar gate.
Oh, that's powerful.
Um,
Wow. Your glyphs are phenomenal. That is so cool. Oh,
so the solar gate is in Egypt, Giza, right? And it's
mhm.
been a battle, of course. The Stargate's been battled over forever.
Right. Yeah.
And that network goes into the sun portal, and so it's very important. And the sun is Sol, right? In Egypt,
Hmm.
in ancient Egypt they worship the sun and they honor the sun. They made all their structures around it, or soul. I'm sorry, soul.
Hmm.
So so the solar gate is now secured, and this has and it's thanks to Lisa and Tomas and ES and all the other, there's so many
Right.
groups. It's not just them. There
Right.
are, and I got chills because there's so many of us
Yes.
doing this, team.
Hmm.
And we came back from the future to
Hmm.
do this, right?
Right.
We
Right.
saw what happened in the future on the negative timeline.
Right.
Gray aliens, that's where they're from, you know,
Yeah.
the regression of humanity instead of the progression.
Progression. Yeah.
So those are the two timelines. There's many more, but there's basically two. And so we either regress or we progress. And so
Right.
we have come back here, and a lot of this has to do with the spiritual work that is done on the, outer dimensional planes in our bodies. So they actually went there and held that gate down. I don't remember when it was, and a whole group of them went, but they're not the only ones. Many, many people are
Hmm.
doing this work, thousands
Right.
and thousands of souls.
Oh, yes.
So this actually stopped the Armageddon software. So the Armageddon software is in the Bible, and it is a software program, and it's not happening. There's not going to be Armageddon, like
Yay.
Armageddon as in not there's not going to be a nuclear war.
Good.
It's going to blow up. There's going to be casualties in
Right.
places, but that's done. That's not okay. This is the gold seraphim template.
Oh, I
Um,
love the eagles. Oh, I love it. I've got eagle medicine, so that really speaks to me a lot. Oh, and
yeah.
the
So the
dove, how
eagles are
beautiful.
the okay, they're the part of the golden eagle grid. So if you work with
Mm.
the eagles, then you're probably working with the golden eagle grid, and holding that down.
Wow. Wow.
This is connected to the family of Michael. and also the Christ Templars.
Oh,
So
that makes sense. That makes sense with my lineage. Wow.
yeah,
Oh
so,
my
and the
God.
seraphim. So actually this picture of this angel on the shield, I
Mm-hmm.
remember seeing that as a child, because this is
Right.
an old painting, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and just it's so familiar. It's like a cozy teddy bear when I look at that picture. I was just like
Uh-huh.
every, you know, some of I when I was a child, I used to look at old paintings,
Yes.
and I was just so drawn to them. They made so much more sense. And then I would look out my window because I was raised in Oakland, and I'd see like all the mechanical stuff and the city, and I was just like, this isn't planet Earth. What is this place?
Oh man.
You know? So anyway, this is the Seraphim template. And it's the Seraphim genetics. We have Seraphim genetics, and it's
Mm-hmm.
the gold ray and the eagle grid, and the order of the
Now the
Christ.
Eagle Grid, is that the one that's in Arizona, or was, I'm trying to remember which one that one was.
Um,
And so I'm trying to find is where it is.
you look in the Ascension glossary,
Right. Good idea. I'm gonna write that down so I remember to look.
and it will
So
tell
the
you.
so the Golden Eagle Grid.
Yeah,
I'm still learning the names because, like I said earlier when we were talking, when I work on the astral, it's just always been kind of automatic with bringing souls, out of whatever crud that's going on that other side. And wow, I love putting words to what's just been going on automatically.
yeah, that's what I like about ES, because all ES really does is it just gives you a language. We've all
Right.
been working with this material for a very long time, but we've never had a language for it, and
Hmm.
so a vocabulary.
I'm
That
so grateful for what Tomas and Lisa have done because this has been such a blessing. I was Mormon for 41 years and coming out of, the Illuminati cults and SSP and military abductions. This has been such a blessing in my life and healing. That's why I talk a lot about Lisa's work lately on my shows, because it's just so healing and integrating.
Yeah, and it's a foundation for a lot of things to come, and a lot of people can build on it. And so that glossary is like a Wikipedia for
Right.
start. So
I love the Ascension Glossary. It's like the rabbit hole of the rabbit holes.
so this is the last one I've made so far
Oh,
in this series.
wow.
This is
The hub handshake. Oh my
hub
God,
handshake.
that's
So
just,
Lisa always talks about the hub handshake and the guardian races. And so the hub handshake is where you reach out and you connect sideways with the guardians. And that is something that at first you have to imagine doing. And after you
mhm.
imagine it over and over and over again, you'll start to feel it.
That's cool.
Yeah. And the guardian races, you just ask, it's a communication hub portal. So, and it's a handshake. It's very interesting. It's so, in this painting, it's just coming out of her painting. And
So beautiful.
so, yeah, so that's the last of the ES paintings, because they're kind of big and they take a long time. And then I have to process, and it,
Right.
it's just so much work. I've given myself a lot of work. Oh, there's,
Yeah.
okay. This is,
Oh, yes. I
um,
love the alignment, the axiotonal lines.
yeah, so this is the axitonial line. When you feel out of
Axiotonal.
line, you just go 4, 7, 10, 1, 5, 3, 6, 9, 2, 8, unify. It's
Wow. That's
like a
really cool.
magic spell.
Hmm. And I've
And
listened, or I guess I read her, I'm trying to remember, I guess I read it. She had written down the axiotonal alignment in what is it, the
yeah,
H?
so the Har lines come out of your fingers.
Oh,
And
okay.
so
I was trying to figure out how to imagine it.
the left hand is the left hand is your female
Okay.
magnetic, and then the right, and your whole side of your body. And then the
Right.
right is the male. Okay, and so this is also the Merkaba, right? Because it goes, most of the starseed people are familiar with the Merkaba, because the Merkaba information came out first.
Right.
So the Merkaba, well, is the Star of David as well. So it just goes the one way and then the other way, the bottom of your body. It's
Awesome.
spiral rotation, and a spiral current rotating in two different ways creates the Merkaba, which is your light body. And so you can do this right before light work if you are working on people's bodies or anything with your hands, or about to do the HGS, work, anything within the systems of energy and body work.
I love her calibration manual. I went through that a few times with myself, and it's amazing.
It's amazing how it works because it's so not logical. Okay, so we're so being logical all the time. That's what I love about teaching art at the high school, is because I'm teaching my students not to be logical, because that's all they're taught.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Don't be logical. That's gonna mess you up.
Oh man.
Okay, so that's the end of the ES paintings. And do you want to? I just have a. Do you have a little more time? I don't know.
Oh yeah, let's go for it. We got it all the time that you need.
So this is part of my shifting frequency paintings. Now these paintings feel different because they are different.
Right.
They're a whole different series, and they're before I went into ES. And so I would consider these my baby self, because not baby, but maybe teenager.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love the rich colors.
Because when this is what I did in I went back to school for my master's when I got a divorce from my kid's dad, and I was really lost. And so I was really lost in the awakening process of going down the rabbit hole that we go down, right? And you start to be like, oh, there's chemtrails, and oh, this is not a good place, and let's watch a million videos and download as much information as possible, because now I'm starting to remember. So this is education, which is about the school versus, internal learning. And this was my daughter at the time. She was 8. So this is called the Guardian. She was also posing for that. This is
That's
protecting
beautiful.
the earth. I was much more in a different frequency of fear at this time. So this is more, I would say, these paintings are like the lower 3 chakras, and then the other paintings are like the higher 3 chakras. And I had to go through this process. It was very healing for me to try to figure out a way to express what's happening on the earth. And I was in a lot of fear. I decided to move up to the mountains, And this is the Merkaba we were talking about.
I love that tiger.
Wow. So, and this was Palestine during, this is all shifting frequencies. Is all about one frequency to the next. So the geometry is creating a bridge. So their tiles and their geometry is sort of represents the bridge to their gods, the God world, and the destruction of this landmass, which is a important landmass, as we know.
Yeah, it is.
In China, just what's happening with China, right?
Oh, I love your dragon.
So the dragon's giving her this little flower and saying, you need to go back over here where you're working from the earth. But then this is the Industrial Revolution.
Oh yeah, wow.
So I was just trying to express all these different things happening.
That's powerful.
This is the Saturn Moon Matrix. I was really into listening to David Icke at the time, and talking about the moon mind control, right?
Yes.
And I didn't really quite have a grasp yet of what the moon was, because I hadn't entered the ES yet. But now I know what it is. The Moonsheen lineage, it's like the lunar feminine, right? And so this is just the mind control outpost. The moon is the mind control outpost. It works with Saturn, and we have a choice we're shifting over, right? So the planets aren't bad, but they've been taken
Right.
over.
Right. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful.
On this spiritual protection,
Oh,
with the wars going on. I mean, I saw war coming.
yeah.
That was 10 years ago. I saw war, and I think it's now actually
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
early.
Oh, wow. Interesting. That's really
Um,
cool.
this is the Greys trying to get sort of the DNA of humans, and I was really just playing with this. This is the stuff, like I said, it's the
Wow.
template for me to go into my ES material
Mm-hmm.
with knowing that the government was pretty much the alien race.
Wow.
So, and then this last one was the rescue of souls through
Ooh.
blood sacrifice, right?
I think I've seen this one. You'd posted a
Yeah,
while
I just
back
posted
on
that one on
Facebook.
a, yeah, because I never finished it. These are paintings are 30 by 40. They're huge, right? They're
Oh
massive.
God,
But
yeah.
I never
Wow.
finished it. So I was like, I'm going to finish this and post it.
It's so amazing and deep. Wow.
And it's very interesting, this painting, because at the time I painted this, the queen,
Mm-hmm.
uh, false queen, she had a ceremony with these plastic poppies all over, because it was for they always do a ceremony of poppies for all the fallen soldiers. But
Oh,
this
yes,
decided
yes.
to do plastic poppies instead of real
Right.
poppies. It was so weird and creepy.
Hmm.
Just what reminded me of blood sacrifice so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that Hydra. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, she's
Interesting.
not human, as we know.
Right. Wow. Dang.
So that's it. Oh, here's a little bit about my process. So, oops, let me go back. I have a lot of photos about my process, but this one I just put together real quick here.
Oh, cool.
So, like for this painting, I had my daughter at the time she was younger. She posed, put a light in the box. This is how I work. So,
That's cool.
this is also how I teach. I'm really
Kind
interested
of
in
similar to mine. I do a lot of templates too, because it's just so much easier to have something to kind of look
well,
at, or if I have to get the outline of to speed up the work.
I don't. It's not easy to paint without a reference.
Right.
So it's very important to have a reference as an artist to make a good piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always emphasizing get your own
Yeah.
reference, create your own references.
Right.
And as a teacher, that's what I teach my students.
That's awesome.
So it's very important to have good references, and you either find them from the internet or like these are blurry, but I took pictures to piece this
Mm-hmm.
together,
Oh.
get an idea of the whole process. Is like a whole deal.
Yeah, that's interesting how similar our processing is. And I do mostly pencil art colored or just black and white. So really cool.
So here's my contact information, and I'll have more videos on my website too of
Okay.
different things. I also do videos on just the ascension process that I teach to teenagers. And yeah, there's a lot of teaching going on.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you're a phenomenal teacher. I love this has been such a learning process just, doing this show with you and talking through it and wow, you're definitely a very talented artist, very talented energy worker and you can feel your passion, your energy, your magic, your love just in that art. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, my goal is to get people to be able to express themselves through whatever means possible, because it feels like our throat chakra has been, damaged with the Tower of Babel, and we're not
Yeah,
very able to communicate or express or connect. So I think that's the most important thing right now,
absolutely.
to give us something
Absolutely.
to creating is such an important process.
Right. And I think that the Cabal has really, they've done a good job at stifling us in those processes through, poor nutrition and the chemtrails and just the garbage, fake medicine, fake food, fake everything. But I think with our strength, our DNA, our abilities through art, through performance through vocals, tones, these fire codes, and other, spiritual practices. It just definitely is such a process, I think, that's healing us, waking us up so that we can remember and override this false matrix garbage.
Well, what I notice is that if you don't have a creative outlet, you can easily fall towards materialism,
Right.
where the 3D world becomes everything. And that's what they're trying to do with the young people, obviously, and have succeeded. A lot of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the amount of video games and all of the outlets that they have, they're just farting around and not using their brains, not meditating. The AI is pretty yucky right now.
It is, but we can override it.
Yeah, we can.
And a lot of these young people are going to they have sleeper activation. So when they get older, if they're not awake now, they have the genetics, so they'll just actually awaken.
Right, right.
I have faith in that.
Hopefully soon.
Well, I work with a lot of teenagers, so I've noticed they are they have a Neptune in Aquarius, and they are a rebel, and they are collectively designed to be part of this Aquarian age of the Great Awakening.
That makes sense.
So
That
they
makes
are
sense.
severely attacked because of that.
Mhm.
They want this vaccination in them, they want this
Yeah.
AI in them, but how much they succeed, I don't know. It depends. I don't know. What do you think?
I think a lot of the Indigo parents, like ourselves, like I kind of vaccinated my oldest son, but then it's like the spirit was saying, stop. And I started researching and stopped immediately. I think he only had like 2 rounds, but he's the only one that I had that had some seizure issues, ADD issues. He does have some trauma. But my other 2 have never been, except for that stupid vitamin K prick that they do on the kids or whatever. So I do notice a difference with the other 2. They seemed to have less issues than my oldest did, and it took him longer to come out of it. And then, of course, eating high vibrational nutrition, which I talk about quite a bit with people that I coach, just because I've overcome stage 3 adrenal carcinoma myself. And when you have cancer, it kind of wakes you up. You start assessing life a little differently. So I work with a lot of people through nutrition, neurolinguistics, programming, my own psychic abilities, remote viewing, bilocational abilities, and being able to actually do etheric surgery. And so I do a lot of different things, of course, with the grid work, and then putting them together with Lisa's work. And I think I've seen actually quite a bit of your art around. Is that what Lisa puts on her site quite a bit, is your art? Or
I've had people repost it a lot in the forum.
yeah.
I have a thread.
Okay, because I have seen it quite a bit. It seems so familiar.
Mhm.
Just really speaks to the soul. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you said you're building a class that's coming up that you're going to be teaching soon. Do you want to kind of tell the audience when you're going to be having that class available for people so that they can know where to go to do that?
Yeah, I'm creating classes that are designed actually for teenagers, but it's also available for older people, and it's just basic ES material, which is how to build your 12D shield, how to clear your space, how to create an exit transit portal, how to command your voice, then to go through galactic history a little bit, how our bodies work, like etherically, and just to override these programs. In
Oh,
order to
yeah.
override a lot of programs, we have to identify them.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the education that I want to give, is through identifying, like the victimizer is a program, that's just one. And when you identify it, it no longer has power over you.
Right.
So I was just going to do a little slideshow presentation of just like really compacted information about how to be knowledgeable. It's just knowledge that we didn't learn. Nobody's showed or talked about it it's made fun of. It's not, but people are ready now.
Mhm.
People
Yeah.
are.
Do you have dates scheduled for your class yet, or is that just kind of in the process right now for you?
Um, I have next week. I'm going to do one. I already have one class already uploaded onto a YouTube, and
Very
I
cool.
could make it public. I haven't made it public yet.
Okay. Do you have
So
like a Patreon that you do those on that people can purchase from you, or how do you do that as far as that goes?
I don't have anything like that set up. No,
Okay.
I could. I'll have to think about it. How I can make it available. I guess I could announce it on my Facebook page
Okay.
and post a link to the videos
Awesome.
that way. And also, I put my email up there and contact information. So,
And any of the information for listeners out there, we'll just post it below on YouTube, and then of course Facebook on my HeartMind Expressions page. And then any of you guys with C4OC Radio Network or Revelation Radio Las Vegas, just get a hold of Denny Ray or Captain Steve-O, and they could get those questions to me, and then I could forward them, of course. And yeah, I think that would be a great little group that we have to be able to get that information so that we can have everybody that wants to take your classes.
yeah, I'd like to make them available. I mean, they're just so they're such at a beginner phase. I wouldn't like be charging money or anything right now.
Mhm.
This is a phase of developments and just sharing. Really, that's what I want to do.
That's very
So,
generous of you. Very generous.
I mean, it's a growth process, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Can I hear a holla right there? Oh,
So
man.
I'll think about how to get these. Well, I have one class. It's called How to Build Your Crystal Cathedral.
Okay.
Very basic. It's very raw. It's just a slideshow presentation like this. And if people are interested in that, I can definitely share that link with them.
Okay. Well, and
Start
I
on
could
YouTube.
also, if you want, I could also get those links and post them below as well, so that way anybody that wants, they can just click on them too, and then be
Yeah,
taken from there to whichever classes you're doing.
yeah. It's my YouTube channel under my name, so
Oh, perfect. Okay.
we'll just share the video, the first one, and then if people are interested in joining live or anything, they can contact me.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
This was
you.
fun.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on. Wow. I just feel so blessed and honored to be able to get to know you a little here, and looking forward to future shows. I definitely would love to talk with you a little bit more about your astrology that you do. And I'm fascinated with that. So that could be a totally another webcast. So yeah, thank
I
you so
do
much.
I do
Oh, go ahead.
astrology updates on my Facebook, so if you want to friend me, then
Right.
you'll get those. Try to do like once or twice a week. So
And they're really in depth. I love her updates that she does on Facebook. Very informational, especially if you're kind of wanting to get into astrology and understand it a little more. She really digs in. I love it.
thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you so much for being on Heart Mind Expressions. For all the listeners out there, thank you so much for listening and for your comments and any questions that you have. And we will see you again. Love you guys so much. Thank you, Althea, for being here on the show.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.